Thanks for watching, everyone. We've had a lot of pleasure putting this video together and helping organizations navigate through grant programs available here in Canada. My name is Nicholas. I'm a partner at Move AI, and I work every day with our team to help democratize artificial intelligence and working with different customers across Quebec and Canada. Our specialty is essentially to translate a project or a business case into and bring it to life using data science. We've delivered solutions for the likes of Pratt & Whitney, Canada. We've worked with organizations like Metro and even like the Montreal Transit Authority, or commonly known as the STM here in Montreal. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Ina from Scale AI so that she can walk you through kind of how organizations can tap into Scale AI and basically fund some of their projects. So Ina, my pleasure to introduce you.
So hi everyone, my name is Ina Falia. I'm an investment director with Scale AI, focusing on project investments specifically. So Scale AI is one of the 5 superclusters that currently exist in Canada. Our mandate is really to bring the AI from the university and research centers into the field and into industries, and with a specific focus on supply chains and intelligent supply chains. Our current investment portfolio is around 151 million, out of which 60 million were Scale AI investments. We have a variety of projects that involved SMEs, that involve corporations. It's pan-Canadian, so it's not only in Quebec, but it's across Canada. And we're relatively industry agnostic, so we invest in each industry. We're more interested in the project themselves rather than having necessarily a vertical focus. So the main I guess message is wherever you are in your AI journey, we are there to support you. So what we see usually with companies is that they're either in the exploration, piloting, or scaling part. And in the exploration, it's really, I have no idea what AI can do, but I'm willing to try because innovation, if I don't innovate, my competitor will. So in there, we offer training reimbursements. So it's up to 85% of the first 100K and 50% of the balance, subject to certain restrictions. The idea is to bring management, executives, whoever's interested really in the in AI within the company, to train them. And the companies are asked to find, or we can recommend certain vendors. We would reimburse essentially the financing of the training. We wouldn't be training the companies themselves. So if you figured out, okay, so I have this business problem such as I want to streamline my demand forecasting, and I'm ready to get my hands dirty and start a project. That's where the project funding comes in. And here we reimburse up to 50% in Quebec and up to 40% outside Quebec of the costs that the company's part of the project would incur. And really the rationale behind it is we're trying to de-risk as much as possible the investments and give the little incentive for companies to take that leap of faith and really invest in AI within supply chains. Acceleration is quite important because though we don't invest directly in startups, we invest in ecosystem multipliers, so supporters of startups such as accelerators, incubators, etc. Fundamentally, Scale AI is not just a financing mechanism. We do partner up and thought partner with the companies that decide to invest, because a lot of the times there's a business problem, but there's no knowledge of where exactly to find the right AI service provider or what AI capabilities are out there. So these are some of the examples of prior projects, and it's not an exhaustive list by any means. It is what's available right now publicly. And as you can see, there's a good balance between SMEs and corporations that we fund. We have, as of right now, 180 million allocated for project investments. And project investments, if you recall, those are really to be de-risked by Scale AI, by us financing a part of it. So up to 50% in Quebec and up to 40% outside Quebec. And we have allocated around 40 million for training. So that's really to train the executives, management, or anyone else in the company that wants to get their hands dirty within AI supply chain. An example of what we've done successfully prior is with Ericsson, when we financed training for 275 professionals. We were very eager to understand what AI could do for them. And as a result, they were able to adopt certain AI solutions that might have been not as easily comprehended initially. So when we think about the application process, we're really focusing on certain projects applying for in the scope of AI supply chain. They have to entail collaboration. So we don't invest in single companies. We actually invest in a consortium of companies, at least 2+ players. There has to be an SME involved. A lot of the times the SME involved is the service provider, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be the adopter. Fundamentally, part of our mandate is to also support the growth of SMEs. So it's a requirement as part of eligibility. The project has to be incremental. It has to essentially be new, cannot have existed for the past 5 years and now asking for reimbursement. And it has to be ready, so technically feasible, and that it has the right project team to implement the project itself. So that's essentially the eligibility. Those 5 criteria will determine whether you're eligible or not. So once again, it has to be AI supply chain. It has to involve an SME. It has to be collaborative, so at least 2+ players. It has to be incremental, so new, and readiness. It has to be technically feasible and have the right team to actually undergo. From a selection perspective, it really goes more into the details of what are the profiles of people that work on the project, will work with on the project. We go into the technical nitty-gritty parts of like what algorithms will there be used, what is plan B in case plan A does not work. It goes into what is the impact of the ecosystem and what jobs will be created, what is the business case, will it result in increase in revenue and cost efficiencies? Because fundamentally, we always start from the business problem. We do not want to apply AI solution for the sake of just applying solutions. So upon signing of the contract, on a quarterly basis, we do ask for evidence of how the KPIs are going, for evidence of expenses incurred, and we would reimburse, as promised, up to 40 or up to 50%, depending on location and pending what we agreed on the initial stage of the project. So I will place this link separately for the Port of Montreal review. I think it's worthwhile seeing. This is a good example of how we've collaborated with Port of Montreal and the solutions that they have implemented as a result, which had, especially during COVID, it had a massive impact. It really reverberated throughout, the ecosystem and impacted the SMEs as well, not only and us as consumers. Another example was the project that we had with Fleet Complete. This one is more so for fleet management. However, we usually invest in preventative maintenance. We invest in demand forecasting, inventory optimization. The use cases vary quite a bit. It's more so, does it impact the supply chain? And the way we look at supply chain is the movement of goods or services throughout the chain. Though it could also be human resources, the movement of human resources. Those workforce optimizations are valid projects to apply for. So as I mentioned, it's quite a wide range of the type of projects, anything from capacity and inventory management, predictive disruption, pricing and channel optimization, sourcing and procurement, traceability. So anything that is a movement of a resource across the chain will qualify as an AI supply chain. So when you think about AI and how to integrate AI in your business, think about what the business problem is, what the available AI solutions are out there. Do you have the right data? Do you have the right people? What capabilities do you need to develop as a result? And Scale AI can help in a variety of manners. First of all, we fund your project, so we de-risk most of the projects. We train your workforce, and we find you the right partners. If you're unsure, if you know what the problem is, but you aren't sure who can help, please do reach out to us and we'll put you in touch with a variety of players in the ecosystem. We don't endorse anyone. However, we provide at least with visibility of the players that exist out there. So please visit Scale AI.